He had been a father for less than 24 hours. Most new parents, in that window, are running on no sleep, surrounded by family, learning the shape of a life that just changed permanently. Shohei Ohtani spent part of that same window throwing in the outfield before a major league game, preparing his body for a scheduled pitching start just days away, and stepping into a batter's box trailing by 3 runs in the 9th inning. "His body feels great," Dave Roberts said afterward. "The day off was good for him." That was as close as anyone got to an explanation for what happened next. With 1 out in the 9th, down 3-1, facing Orioles closer Andrew Kittredge, Ohtani turned on a fastball down the middle and sent it over the center field wall. 16th home run of the season. Exit velocity, 114.6 miles per hour, his 49th career home run hit that hard or harder, 11 more than any other player in baseball over that same stretch. The stadium, quiet for most of the night against a dominant Orioles starter, came alive in an instant. It wouldn't be enough to win the game. But it was enough to remind everyone watching exactly who they were looking at, a man who, less than a day after becoming a father for the second time, still found a way to put his fingerprints on a baseball game most people had already mentally filed away as a loss. The game had been defined, for most of its length, by Orioles starter Trevor Rogers. He held the Dodgers to a single hit through 7 innings, the kind of outing that empties a stadium's energy inning by inning, the crowd growing quieter not out of disinterest but out of the specific resignation that settles in when a lineup simply can't find anything to work with against a pitcher who has complete command of the night. Ohtani himself hadn't found much success against Rogers earlier in the game. A pop-up in his first at-bat. A strikeout in his second. A groundout in his third. The kind of night that, for most hitters, ends quietly, 3 quiet outs, a quiet final line, nothing for the highlight reels. But the 9th inning is different. The 9th inning is where Kittredge entered instead of Rogers, where fatigue and matchup considerations shift the calculus entirely, where a closer's fastball down the middle becomes, suddenly, an opportunity rather than a lost cause. Ohtani didn't miss it. The ball cleared the center field wall and the deficit, which had felt insurmountable for most of the night, was suddenly down to 2 runs. The crowd, dormant for hours, found its voice again. What followed was the kind of late-inning sequence that makes a loss feel different than it otherwise would have. Freddie Freeman drew a walk. The Orioles, sensing the shift in momentum, pulled Kittredge for right-hander Yomiuri Giants. Mookie Betts reached base on an infield single, not the dramatic, full-count, game-tying line drive of a scripted comeback, but the kind of scrappy, productive at-bat that keeps a rally alive on pure stubbornness. Then came the play that nearly delivered something extraordinary. Tommy Edman lined a ball to right field, and Orioles outfielder Leody Taveras' throw got away from him, an error that allowed Freeman to score and brought the Dodgers within a single run, with Betts advancing all the way to third base in the chaos. For a moment, with the tying run 90 feet away and the winning run at the plate, the stadium believed something larger than a respectable late rally might actually be possible. Kyle Tucker stepped in with a chance to be the hero. He struck out. The game ended 3-2. A loss in the record book, the same as any other loss, identical on paper to every other one-run defeat that accumulates across a long season. It would not be remembered that way. Reporters gathered after the game with one obvious set of questions, and Roberts addressed them directly, without the careful deflection that sometimes surrounds Ohtani's personal life. He was asked how much of an impact the home run had on the energy of that 9th-inning push, even in a losing effort. "I think it's a big part of it," Roberts said. "Kittredge has a good arm, but for him to put us on the board, Andy had a good at-bat, but Taylor Ward makes a great play in left center." He was asked about Ohtani's status going forward, whether the personal news of the past 2 days would affect his scheduled return to the mound. "He's expected to make his start Wednesday in Minnesota," Roberts confirmed. "He was throwing in the outfield before the game today. Everything's on track." And when a reporter, almost in passing, reminded Roberts that he had gifted Ohtani's family a miniature pink Porsche after the birth of his daughter the year before, the manager paused, caught slightly off guard. "I gotta give a baby gift," he said, half laughing. "Good point. I gotta figure something out." It was a small moment, but it captured something true about the night as a whole, a clubhouse trying to hold two realities at once. The disappointment of a tight loss. And the genuine, uncomplicated joy of celebrating a teammate's growing family. Mookie Betts, who has known Ohtani since they became teammates, addressed his own night briefly after the game, a solo home run of his own off Helsley the night before, and his role in the near comeback against Baltimore the following night. Betts has spoken in the past, across multiple interviews over the past 2 seasons, about the specific quality he sees in Ohtani that goes beyond pure talent, a focus that doesn't waver regardless of what's happening around him, on or off the field. He has described watching Ohtani approach every at-bat with the same stillness, whether the moment is ordinary or extraordinary. He didn't offer a dramatic, tearful revelation that night. The closeness between the two players is well documented, built over several seasons as teammates, but no specific viral quote from Betts about Ohtani's special words exists in the reporting on this game. What's clear, consistently, across how teammates describe him, is a simple and recurring theme. Ohtani's ability to compartmentalize never seems to come at the expense of his teammates noticing what he's carrying. Roberts captured that dynamic plainly when describing the clubhouse's reaction to Ohtani's return. "I talked to him briefly and congratulated him and Mamiko," Roberts said. "He says his body feels great, so the day off was good for him. But I didn't talk much about anything else." Keeping his privacy. What stands out most, even now, is how little Ohtani has said publicly about any of it. No interviews detailing the labor, the delivery, the first hours of his son's life. No public reflection on what it means to become a father for the second time in 14 months while in the middle of an MVP-caliber season. Just a brief, simple statement, posted jointly with his wife, echoing almost word for word the message they shared when their daughter was born the previous year. "We are again overjoyed to experience this wonderful day in our lives together. Thank you for being born safely. We would also like to express our heartfelt gratitude to everyone who has supported us throughout this journey." The same restraint that defines his public life extended, predictably, into how he handled his return to the lineup. No emotional pre-game interview. No extended remarks about fatherhood reshaping his perspective. Just a question about his body, and a brief answer about feeling ready. And then a 114-mile-per-hour home run in the 9th inning of a game his team would ultimately lose. 16 home runs. The number itself, on a typical night, might pass without much additional context. This one carried weight beyond the count. It was Ohtani's 49th career home run hit at 114 miles per hour or harder, a mark that places him 11 home runs ahead of every other player in baseball over that span, a statistic that speaks to something beyond timing or luck. It speaks to a hitter capable of producing his hardest, most violent contact in moments that ask for exactly that. A day after the birth of his son. Facing a closer in a 3-run deficit. In the kind of at-bat that, on paper, looked like a formality in a game most fans had already mentally written off. It wasn't enough to win. The Dodgers fell to the Orioles 3-2, the rally falling just short when Tucker struck out with the tying run 90 feet away. But for one swing, in the 9th inning, less than a day after becoming a father for the second time, Shohei Ohtani gave a quiet stadium something to be loud about again. There's a tendency, in moments like this, to reach for the dramatic framing, the kind that turns a single swing into a parable about resilience, about a man drawing strength from new fatherhood and channeling it directly into a baseball game. The truth, as it usually is with Ohtani, is simpler and somehow more impressive. He didn't talk about drawing strength from anything. He didn't frame the home run as a tribute to his newborn son. He answered questions about his body feeling good after a day off, and then he went out and did what he has done all season, found the pitch he wanted, and didn't miss it. The Dodgers lost that night. The record book will show a 3-2 defeat, one of dozens of one-run games that blur together across a long baseball season. But somewhere in that 9th inning, in the sound of contact at 114 miles per hour, in a stadium that had gone quiet for most of the night suddenly finding its voice again, there was a reminder of something simple. A man can become a father for the second time, miss a single game for the most important reason there is, and still walk back onto a field less than 24 hours later and remind everyone exactly what he's capable of. That part, at least, doesn't need any embellishment. It happened exactly the way it sounds.